What's up? Happy Wednesday. I did not have any time to do any prep, period, today. Yeah, I know. What's up, Cassie and Cape Kitty? It is. It's very weird. But thank you. I got your. Hell yeah. Yeah, I came home. There was a customization, another one I wanted to do to my desk. So I hurried up and did that. And then made supper and all that stuff. And I had no time. Not even. Well, I did save one video. Right, Cassie? I did save one video. It was Mike DeWine's press conference from today at East Palestine. Figure I'll give that a quick watch. Haven't watched too much of it. There you are. What's up, SRB? So I'm going to go ahead. It's about a 20-minute press conference. Cassie. It's about a 20-minute press conference from Mike DeWine today. I was watching Ryan Hall, y'all, as I was getting ready. And I guess there's more severe storms and tornadoes going through Texas, Oklahoma, all up through that area that we just had all them storms. And they're probably coming up through here. Glad you're feeling better. What kind of symptoms do you have, SRB? Sinus stuff? Yep, good old DeWine, just for a little bit. I don't know, I haven't seen him. I thought about trying to go back to that Aaron Brockovich town hall. I might do that because there's some things that they were interviewing local residents that were sitting there waiting for it to start. And some of the things that were saying were pretty interesting. I did hear that Norfolk Southern is going to purchase one homeowner's property. I'm not sure if it's just one or how that all works, but that's just what I seen when I pulled it up. But let me get my banners up there. And that one. All right, SRB. That's how it started for me. Got really freaking bad. And then it's been lingering. I wasn't doing too bad today, and then before the show I was having sneezing fits where I just could not stop sneezing. Yeah, it's a weird sinus thing, and when did I get it? It had to be like a month, maybe a month and a half. Yeah, it lingers and lingers and lingers. You'll go back and forth. It's crazy. I got a crazy ass immune system too, and it took my body for a doozy. I'm like, damn. Normally I don't even get sick like this. All right, let's get this music turned down. Hear what Mike DeWine has to say. Let's see, get that baby turned down. And see what he says. Oh my god, that's loud. What are they doing? What are they doing? Yeah, the sneezing is crazy. Whoa. Oh. What? What is it? Are they spraying or sucking out? I don't understand. That's odd. That's odd.
But we just talked about it.
Sure. What do you want us back from? What kind of backdrop do you want?
Anything where the sun's not at your back.
Basic rule.
Yeah, anything where the sun's not at your back
Basic
will
rule.
work.
Unfortunately,
We're on the wrong
damn side.
Yeah, that's all right. So we'll make it work.
You pick a spot. We'll just go where you go. So.
I moved up closer to the road a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe have some dams blocking. Maybe we can get that.
Go with you.
Okay.
You go set the shot.
Okay.
What the heck? Okay. My bad. Here, we'll just.
We can have and
My bad. I didn't realize it was this long until it actually got into it.
Just introduce it, and then you want to ask questions. What do you want to do?
I'll ask you questions if that's okay.
Why don't we just
Sure.
do that? Maybe we'll identify ourselves.
What
Okay.
the heck?
Just, you want to stand
This
over
is
here,
uncut.
Okay.
and you'll need to be close here.
Coming with us now, Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio, and Ann Vogel, the Ohio EPA director, to kind of explain some of the things they have seen and some of the science behind all this. Governor, your thoughts? This is the first time you've been to the area of the derailment itself and to see this area. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a huge operation. I guess I wish a citizen could see it in Columbiana County and around the state. Hundreds of people working here, from truck drivers to people who are actually working in the stream. It's a process, but it's a very impressive process with Ohio EPA, U.S. EPA, the railroad, local officials. Local officials have been phenomenal. And, when you first see where the train wreck was, I think you can kind of have some visualization of what the firemen and women who first responded to that. I mean, I have great admiration for them and these volunteers. They came on.
Sorry, SRB.
Tough.
Seeing it up that close, I mean, it's one thing to see it from a drone, or it's one thing to read about it.
I hope this guy asks how come the other states are not being notified. Please ask that question, dude.
See it up that close. It's impressive.
Please
but
ask
also
that
scary.
question.
Well, it's certainly very scary. And, as we always say, members of fire departments, they run towards problems. The rest of us run away. And they were running into this and not knowing, frankly, what was on that
Yeah, they
train.
weren't even
So,
prepared
I
for
have
it.
great admiration. Frankly, I have a great admiration for all the people who are out here. This is an amazing operation. It's a big operation. They're moving massive amounts, going out of here. I mean, they told me by the time they're done, they think it'll be 30,000 truckloads.
Wow, 30,000 truckloads.
going out of here, which is just absolutely
Wow.
amazing. So yeah, this is the first time Trey and I have been down here to look at the whole operation. Look, I mean, the whole goal here is to make this community safe, and it can't happen overnight. You can't get all this stuff out of here overnight. But just looking at what we were looking at here, and looking at the stream, and how they're constantly trying to agitate the water, doing the things that they need to do, so that you're slowing slowly making that
Agitate.
better. So
Early on, we wondered, and I know you were very concerned about making sure things were put back the way they were essentially, and that Norfolk Southern does the job to clean up. From
I
what
don't know
you've
much
seen
about
and heard,
Gawine.
are you feeling more confident perhaps they are doing the job and that it's done? It may take time, but it will be done.
look, citizens are going to continue to have questions, and those are very good things. They should have questions as we go forward. But as I said, I think it would be helpful. It's too bad that everybody can't see exactly what's going on. This is a very elaborate process. They're going about it methodically, but quickly. And this operation here is a 24/7 operation. But let me ask Ann Fogel, who heads up the Ohio EPA, and we're very proud that our EPA was here within a couple hours. They've stayed here. They're going to stay here. Ann's been on the scene a great deal of the time. And maybe, Ann, if you could kind of describe maybe kind of first what we're seeing.
If you can switch places with
Yeah.
the governor,
Sure.
so you have the sun on your face.
Sure. Yeah,
Tell me,
definitely.
give me a sense of what they're doing here, because you
Come on, ask the question. Why no other states are being notified?
kind of described this. We've seen a lot of these videos of people stirring up. That's basically what they're doing writ large.
If you have the link,
We're doing
Kitty,
it
please send it to me.
carefully.
I haven't been
We're
able to
doing
do
it,
my
so
prep today.
that sediment washing is what you're describing. But if we could
Or
back
did
up
you
a little
send it
bit
to me?
get the whole kind of scene. So what you're looking at is the confluence of Leslie and sulfur that are coming in, and that's what we've said all along at Ohio EPA, that we know the contamination was here immediately. So the crew from Ohio EPA was on site immediately. A lot of this containment was constructed within hours of the derailment to keep the spill from going any farther downstream. So what you're looking at now is the containment that's still there, and when we see any product, we're able to vacuum that out and store it and remove it safely. But what you're talking about then is the longer term process that we've been describing, where yes, we introduce air through sparging to speed up the biological breakdown of the contaminants, but also then the next phase is to actually stir up the sediment.
Okay, I'll go
under
through
the
my
creek
folder
to
then.
get the
I know I
product
added
out
it if
of
you
the
sent it.
ground that's under the creek, introduce it to the air, and again speed up that biological breakdown.
And eventually, hopefully, as you said, speeds up what is removed, goes into these tanks behind you
That's
to
right.
be taken away and disposed of properly
That's right.
to restore the creeks to their original state.
That's the plan. So, the team has a lot of expertise at this. This water management is what they do. They're so good at it. And we've seen fish populations being restored. We've seen the aquatic life coming back 4 miles away. So it's getting closer. So it's a matter of time, but we do things.
I've never watched it, but
What we
people
were
told me I
looking at
should.
prior to being here, the removal of the soil and the water that comes through that. Give me a thumbnail sketch of what's happening there.
Okay, so over at the derailment site, we continue to move off the soil that was excavated from the center line of the tracks. So that has been stockpiled for, we had to figure out what was in it, basically, to figure out where it needed to be safely disposed of. So that is now being hauled off and out of East Palestine. Same with the liquids that had been contained over time. Those are now being hauled off in tankers. So those will go to the appropriate storage places around the country, really.
And these will basically go to disposal well sites that this area saw with oil and gas drilling. The brine and so forth that came out of the ground goes into disposal wells similar to what you're going to be using elsewhere.
You got it. It is a similar process, injection wells.
Huh.
Eventually, as they remove the rail and replace the ground underneath, that's going to be a much bigger task than what you've removed so far.
Exponentially larger. Yes. So you can visualize it, right? We've done the center. Now we got to do both sides. So the railroad has submitted a plan for review by US EPA and Ohio EPA for how to start that removal process within days.
I was just saying, if it starts within days, how long do you think it might take to finish?
Huh.
The US EPA directive that came out last week gave them 10 days per side. So I
10
think
days per side.
that's what you can kind of look at.
Within a month, perhaps, if it starts then.
That would be good. They're going to do one side at a time.
Huh. Weird.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you, Governor.
All right.
All right. I think we're headed
Okay,
to the
thank you,
school.
Kip Kitty.
If you're done.
Okay, so give me again what we got. We're here.
Scott.
I want to do the 360 around.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So here on the backside of these two frac tanks is one of the sentinel wells that they have drilled.
Okay.
And those, our water plant is on the other side of these trees.
Okay.
Park, and our well field is over there as well. So there's a sentinel well drilled behind these tanks. There's a monitoring well. There's another one drilled on the other side of the ball field. There's another catch point, I guess, so to speak. And then down here, there's two more drilled. And this is our sewer. Whoa, this is our sewer plant down here. There's two more drilled down there. So essentially, we can catch it. It's working its way. Sorry, I'm not used to this.
the reason
I don't know. Something seems weird.
Visual is because you can see just from a human perspective why we knew that the wells
Yeah.
should be safe.
Yeah,
All the
something sounds
groundwater that
weird.
we
I bet
pull
nothing
from
gets
the
done.
northwest.
Yeah. They're trying to downplay it.
You don't even pull water that's essentially in Palestine. Our 1 year movement, groundwater movement plan.
1 year?
This area
Is that right?
Yeah. So the 1 year starts about where the park is. The 5 year extends way to the northwest of town.
What do you mean 1 year, 5 years?
So there's like a 1 year.
5 years.
How long it takes the water within that area to move 1 year, and then there's a 5 year. How long it takes that water to move 5 years, and it gets bigger as you go. Obviously.
Huh.
But neither area are included where we're standing right now.
Okay. You want? Can you two explain, because that is important, when you're doing these, what I would call wells that are there to be a signal if there's something going on.
They're called sentinels.
Sentinels.
That's for a reason. Yeah,
Sentinels.
they're there to guard the
But I think
village.
it's very important. I'm not sure
Cassie.
how those will work, because this is a long-term program. This is not just for today. This is going. My understanding is this will be for years. That you'll be able to, once you explain it.
So I've done some research on the sentinel wells, other areas where there have been hazardous spills, where they've sampled these sentinel wells for 30 years. So it takes groundwater a long time to move. And in this area, we would be moving upstream to get to our water well field. And that's the key there.
There's
What?
two kinds of monitoring wells that play here. We talked about out at the derailment site, the monitoring wells that we've installed, that we're starting to install here. It will see an information that gets to the ground right under the tracks. And then you've got the sentinel wells here that we installed to make if they're putting the village's municipal well field, that we would know about it way in advance of it reaching those wells.
Bora Bora.
I think that's very important.
Yeah, and there's 4 of those between our well field.
That's a long ways from here.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right, we're off to school.
school.
Off to school.
We're right on time. They're waiting for
All
us.
right, good.
Oh, they're going to the school.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it? Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought he was going to answer some more questions. Must not have been too many people out there. Since we're on that topic, I'm going to go to this folder real quick. You've been exposed. You guys are crazy. How's the weather over there? Kib Kitty, SRB Cassie. I heard California's still getting blizzards. Is that true? All right, there was an entry. Where'd it go? Yes. JD Van Buttigieg falsely blamed Trump for causing East Palestine. This is that guy that we watched on Twitter in the beginning of this when he took a stick and scraped it across the creek, and then you saw them chemicals. That was this gentleman, Senator J.D. Vance. He's been outspoken about this thing the whole time, and he's been saying a lot too. He's been out there, so it's awesome. He's actually been about this from the very beginning. And I heard something, they're trying to pass some bill, safety bill. We'll go to that one next, but I want to hear what Senator J.D. Vance says. It's a measly 42. 68. Wow. 6 inches of snow. Yeah, we're about 70. Got some nasty storms coming though. I was watching Ryan Hall before the show. Yeah, JD Vance. I like this guy.
All right, that was Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer throwing his support behind a bill which would overhaul safety protocols and procedure for railway companies. An overview of the legislation reads in part, not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, the Secretary shall issue regulations or modify existing regulations for a high hazard flammable train. One of the 6 co-sponsors of that bill is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Let's welcome him back to the show. Senator, great to see you.
Good to see you, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Look, I know you're on the front lines of this tragedy that citizens of Ohio are dealing with. I just want to get that why do you think, though, that more regulation is the answer to this tragedy in this particular case?
Well, I think that, first of all, the regulation has to pass a cost-benefit test. With these things, you want things that increase safety without destroying the rail industry. And I think this legislation strikes the right balance. It's why I'm thrilled to have Senator Hawley and Senator Rubio from the Republican side on this particular legislation. If you think about what we're really trying to solve here, let's just take one issue. So when you had this terrible catastrophe in East Palestine, the firefighters went into the crash, into this fiery situation, not knowing what was actually on the train to begin with, not knowing that it was filled with hazardous chemicals. So the thing this bill does is actually forces the train companies to label these things appropriately so that local authorities and first responders know what's on them. I think that's common sense. It's not the sort of thing that's going to cost a lot of money. What it will do is give local authorities proper notification, and I think that clearly strikes the right balance.
And I agree with you. I mean, you want the first responders to be able to know what they're dealing with, right? Do you think that you can get support from your House Republican colleagues from the state of Ohio?
I think we can. I actually think that this bill is going to have a lot of bipartisan support. It's going to have Republican support and also some Democratic support as well. So, look, we have to do the job of persuading our colleagues. We have to actually make sure that people understand what's in the legislation, why it's important, why it solves the problem. I think there's justifiable concern. You don't want to go after the rail industry unnecessarily. You don't want to overreact to a tragedy that causes problem for the rail industry. But again, I think this is something that the rail industry can follow relatively easily, and it's also going to make our railways so much safer. The thing we got to point out, we have over 1,000 major train accidents in this country every single year. That's after we dumped nearly $1 trillion into infrastructure. We should be seeing these things go down, and I think some common sense approaches can ensure that happens.
Right. So, you know what's interesting? I hear, and I am one of the people who's large. Biden and Secretary Buttigieg and others have reacted or not reacted to this tragedy, right? I can't, Biden hasn't been there considering how he's reacted to other tragedies. I can't believe how Secretary Buttigieg has bungled this. But when I ask a lot of officials in Ohio that we've had on the show and that I've talked to, how the federal response has been, how places like the EPA has done responding, they've said they've done a good job. To you, do you have any concerns or criticism with any government agency or individual in terms of the response to the people of Ohio?
Yeah, let me say a couple of things about that. First, Sean, you have to recognize the people on the ground in Ohio are dealing with an incredibly difficult situation. They don't want to alienate federal officials who they know are an important part, hopefully providing help down the line So they're in an impossible situation. My job as senator is to tell it like it is and to apply pressure to the federal government. And I think the federal response to this, Sean, has been a complete disaster. In particular, Secretary Buttigieg and President Biden have shown no moral leadership. They've shown no obvious concern. Neither one of them visited until Donald Trump visited last week, and Secretary Buttigieg then showed up. But importantly, Sean, this is really, really a critical issue. When this accident happened, Pete Buttigieg did not investigate why it happened, try to get to the bottom of it and identify solutions. What did he do? He blamed the Trump administration, and he blamed them in a way that was totally false. He accused them of causing the accident, even though the Washington Post independent fact checkers have said the Trump administration had nothing to do with this accident. What I'm proposing we do is not blame anybody. We actually solve the problem. The fact that the Secretary of Transportation has been playing the blame game problems, it's a huge problem and a huge failure of leadership.
You know, this is why we need more people and voices like you in the United States Senate.
Yeah,
You're a truth teller.
this guy is speaking like it should be. What's a palmetto bug? Yeah, I like Jeezy. Oh yeah, I got like what 86, 87 hours of music on there so far. I've been adding a lot the last few days or a week. It is way too many. They just, it's normal, Yeah, that's what they were doing. That's what Pete Buttigieg kept saying. He was blaming it on the Trump administration. It's like, bro, Obama did it too. Like, and Obama was before Trump. So I don't understand. Yeah, how he was dismissing it, and yeah, there's so many a year that happened, and da da da. That's why it was interesting watching his interviews and such. And then, when he showed up at the site, it was Mr. Important. Yeah, I love Jeezy. Good stuff. Yeah, I got a ton, all variety on there. Tons. Yeah, this guy says it like it is. I mean, he was the one that went out there and actually did the stick scrape. Saw them chemicals pop out.
A lot of sense. I'm so glad you're actually in the United States Senate and dealing with problems like this. I'm sorry that it takes a tragedy to.
It's easier
like this,
to do
get
that.
To the bottom of solutions, and thank God that people like you
blame somebody else instead of taking accountability.
Before I let you go, though, I do want to get your thoughts on Newsmax. As you know, it's been deplatformed by DirecTV. How important is it?
It did.
Who has talked about the forgotten people? That we have an outlet that has the ability to have those voices heard, and that Newsmax be returned to the lineup of a
wow,
place
they
like
really
DirecTV.
did drop
It's
it.
so important.
That's
Sean.
crazy.
I've talked to a lot of people about this, from AT&T and DirecTV on down. You cannot have a major American communications company deplatforming such an important voice for conservatives, and like you said, a lot of forgotten people, even some who are all across the country. So Newsmax has a very important role. And if we allow these major corporations to shut down dissent and to shut down voices, we're going to lose the First Amendment, and we're going to lose our country. So I admire you guys for what you do. I admire you.
Ass like that.
With me for at least
That's
giving
a
me
good
the
song.
opportunity to come on and talk about important issues.
Doing.
Because we can't speak about problems in this country.
What's up, Josie?
We do not have a real country to begin with.
Senator J.D. Vance, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. Thank you very much, and I appreciate what you're doing for the people of Ohio. They're
doing. Oh shit. Oh shit, that's a funny song. Funny video too. Good stuff. Oh shit. All right, yeah. East Palestine train derailment. Ohio senators introduce rail safety bill. We're gonna check this out real quick. Now I can't get the song out of my head. Oh, I'm sorry, Josie.
Governor DeWine was back in East Palestine today, getting a look at the massive operation underway to remove contaminated soil and water from last month's train derailment. In the meantime, new railway safety legislation is on the horizon. 3 News investigator Marissa Science has the latest.
Nearly 4 weeks since the toxic train derailment in East Palestine,
What,
lawmakers
Cassie?
are making a push for change
Seriously?
in Washington, D.C.
It's something that both the federal, the state, and the local, we have to be partners in this.
How did he not know?
Bill called the Railway Safety Act of 2023. It aims to change that have come to light following the fiery crash, including
I bet,
procedures for
Josie.
carrying
Sorry to hear
hazardous
that.
materials, reducing risks of wheel-bearing failures, and increasing fines for rail carriers and budgets for hazmat training grants.
We've got to
Like,
put
Purple Pills is one of the best songs.
safety, I think, top of mind in some of these concerns. I think you can do that while still enabling a strong and robust rail industry in this country.
The bill is sponsored by 6 Republican and Democratic senators across the country, including Senator Sherrod Brown and Senator J.D. Vance. In an interview with Vance Wednesday, he tells us new regulations like these ensure no community has to live through what East Palestine has again.
It's also the 1,000 train derailments that we have every year in this country.
1,700
cut down on that stuff?
average.
How do we make communities like East Palestine safer?
We reached out to Senator Brown, who wasn't available
And it was
today.
crazy. Since 1991, 55,000.
Instead, writing these common sense bipartisan safety measures will finally hold big railroad companies accountable, make our railroads and towns along them safer, and prevent future tragedies. The new legislation comes as Governor Mike DeWine visited East Palestine again, seeing the cleanup site firsthand for the first time.
Citizens are going to continue to have questions.
With the message to Ohioans that patience will be key in the months ahead.
You know, it's a long process. They told me by the time they're done, they think it'll be 30,000 truckloads.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The EPA said today one of the next phases includes digging on both sides of the railway to
Yeah, that's crazy. 30-some thousand truckloads. And I didn't know that I forgot that J.D. Vance brought this up, that they've put in over $1 trillion. And this is what we got out of it. $1 trillion frickin' dollars. Another train derailment. Offered sick pay for fewer inspections. What? What?
We told you Norfolk Southern wouldn't change its ways after the East Palestine disaster. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted the embattled railroad doing something as tone deaf as they have done. The railroad allegedly penned a letter to one of the unions offering to trade sick days for union support in changing, arguably weakening safety standards. This is a letter from the union to the railroad administrators about this issue. Our Kelly Meyer got a hold of the letter through some great reporting. We'll get to her in a minute, but seriously, we can all agree Alan Shaw's performance as CEO of Norfolk Southern through the train derailment, the cloud and toxic chemical spill, and continued problems in East Palestine, well, it is not exactly a profile in courage. In fact, Norfolk Southern didn't even show up at a town hall meeting about the disaster, and they now refuse to pay for the hotel to go home because of the toxic fumes and chemicals. But offering extra sick days so you can experiment with a new track inspection system just feels like a bribe. And is stupid with that. The world is looking at you, Mr. Shaw. East Palestine is hurting, except he doesn't care. Frankly, because he doesn't have to. Peter Kennedy and Jonathan Long are standing by. They're both representatives for the union, but we start, as promised, with Kelly Meyer live tonight in Washington. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Leland. Well, the rail union telling us that behind the scenes, Norfolk Southern offered paid sick leave to union workers in exchange for the union dropping its opposition to changing rail safety standards. The union says the proposal from the rail company ultimately wanted the union to be, quote, complicit in Norfolk Southern's effort to reduce legally required minimum track safety standards. The rail company wants more automated track inspections. This is what Norfolk Southern said when we reached out for to negotiate more paid sick leave, and that they asked to reconsider their opposition to the expansion of their automated train inspection program. They say it has, quote, great potential to increase the safety of rail operations. The union automated
What?
inspections are effective. They can't replace a visual in-person inspection.
What?
And the union sent this proposal not only to
That's
us,
what they
but to
bargained?
the transportation secretary, the Ohio governor, and those in charge of rail regulations. They say requirements cannot be used as, quote, bargaining chips. And today, lawmakers here on Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle came together on this issue. They're teaming up to tighten rail safety regulations.
What's
a
up,
move they
Punksy?
hope will prevent a derailment in the future. Now, this new bill, they say, will require rail carriers give advance notice to state emergency response officials about what they're moving,
This is
increases the
crazy.
frequency of rail car inspections, requires crews of at least 2 people for every train, and increases
Just 2?
penalties for wrongdoing. Now, next week here on Capitol Hill, Norfolk Southern CEO will be here to testify, as Senate Aide tells us, and senators will have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Leland?
the penalties for wrongdoing is the key thing here, because for the railroads, it continues to just
Yeah.
be this economic calculation. Kelly Meyer, thank you very much. Great reporting. Check in with you next week as the story develops. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com. Find News Nation.
So they basically gave up safety for sick pay. That's pretty fucked up. And everybody was cool with it. That's disturbing. Yes, I got that message, Punksy. Awesome. Shared Brown on accountability. I can't believe that. They bargain chipped sick pay for safety. Sick pay. I don't know. I don't get it. That's what I'm... That's what I'm saying, Josie. Like, they should have did this right, because you can't. The home values are going to drop. I was watching the town hall, Aaron Brockovich town hall last Friday before we did our game show, and remember how they were all getting shut down, one right after another. Not like quick, one right after another. It took a little bit for each one, but it was going from one to the next to the next. And when I was watching it in the very beginning, I'm probably going to look for it and just play the people's the local news reporters were interviewing local people that were there waiting at the town hall before the town hall started. They were interviewing some of the people sitting there. And the first guy they interviewed was just talking nothing but facts and shit that needs to be put out there. So I'm probably going to end up hitting that up. But we'll get into that in a minute. There's another one.
Because last week, the talk of the town was this.
Yeah, Shared Brown. We watched the DeWine. I guess it was a different press conference. Maybe he went somewhere else. I don't know. No, that's just a different picture. But yeah, there's a couple videos I'm going to sneak in here. We're not going to watch the town hall. I'm going to save the Aaron Brockovich town hall for another night. Oh, whatever, Punksy. Biden didn't want to broker a deal. Hell yeah, Punksy. I'm excited for you. And your cohort. It's going to be effing time as a senior. Right? Yeah, they should be buying all the property, period. Why even make these people sit there and wait? You know, because honestly, it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper if they buy all these people out and let them go somewhere else. Then they're not, they're not around that crap all the time anymore. You think it'd be cheaper in the long run, right? Maybe they don't look at it like that. It's a loss during this quarter. We can't do it. We were going to hit record profits. We can't do it this quarter. We have to spread it out, sir.
A train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and questions about whether Biden would go, questions about whether the transportation secretary would go. He ended up going. But there's also now this question of accountability, and you have these.
Is it going to expand or what?
I know you talked to Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio. He's a Democrat. What did he tell you about what he wants to see going forward?
Yeah, he is focusing on what needs to change from the rail company, Norfolk Southern, encouraging new regulations or the restoration of old regulations to better prevent future train derailments and crises. A couple other pieces of news before we hear from Senator Brown. There will be congressional hearings into this. That's no surprise. There will likely be field hearings in Ohio or in East Palestine, but that won't happen in the short term, according to the congressman that represents that area. Now, what can be done legislatively, either to change the way this industry operates or change the rules and regulations? Let's hear from Ohio Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown.
What do they seem at this point either reluctant or unwilling to do that Congress wants them to do?
Well, they've not balked on anything yet in terms of payment. In fact, the EPA just handed a rule out down yesterday that they pay triple damages if they don't. I'm more interested in what they are doing in the future because I think they will. These are nickel and dimes compared to. I mean, they did a $3 billion stock buyback. They did a $3 billion stock back last year. They were probably going to do more this year. So these are a lot. This is not a lot of money to them, but they've got to make those residents whole, and we've got to make sure a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. We just passed. Senator Tester and I wrote a bipartisan bill called the PACT Act to make sure that the hundreds of thousands of American veterans exposed to those foot burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan are taken care of. We listed 23 that could happen, lung and cancer illnesses from that exposure. I'm looking at the same kind of construct here to make sure whatever cancers, whatever illnesses could develop in the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years, or Southern compensates those people for their health care.
So you make
the Republican congressman who represents Southeast Ohio, Caitlin, says it's premature to talk about new regulations until the investigation is complete.
It's a great interview, Scott, and also raises the point that we don't know what some of these consequences could be. Scott McFarland, thank you so much for covering several bases for today.
It's a weird video. Right, Josie? This is a freaking joke. They're just trying to brush it under the rug, and it's like, we're not that stupid, people. Yeah, now it's coming to Indiana. Yep. And Indiana didn't even know.
Some of the waste from Ohio's toxic train derailment is coming to central Indiana. The EPA says a landfill in Putnam County will take it. News 8's Amisha Ramsey has some specifics. What's the plan?
That's right. Well, good morning, Scott. The EPA has approved 2 sites to store hazardous soil and water waste. One is a incinerator in Grafton, Ohio. The other was a landfill in Rosedale, Indiana. Now, Heritage Waste Landfill is about an hour west of Indianapolis. Its website says the company uses a national transportation network to treat and dispose of waste safely and sustainably. Now, so far, the EPA says it has collected about 1.8 million gallons of liquid waste from the derailment site in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, federal officials paused shipments over the weekend to look into where the waste was going. The EPA says it's getting closer to identifying enough certified facilities to take all the waste from the site. The EPA initially made the train's operator, Norfolk Southern, solely responsible for the waste disposal, but has since changed that.
Moving forward, waste disposal plans, including disposal location and transportation route for contaminated waste, would be subject to EPA review and approval.
Hazardous waste that has already arrived in Michigan and Texas is now being processed. The EPA says tests of East Palestine's drinking water has found no contamination associated with the derailment. Now, federals are still going door to door to conduct health surveys for people who live in the area. Live in the studio, Misha Ramsey, WishTV, WishTV.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Crap. Dang it. Dang it.
Some of the waste from Ohio's toxic derailment is coming to central Indiana. The EPA says a landfill in Putnam County will take it. News 8's Amisha Ramsey has some specifics. What's the plan?
That's right. Well, good morning, Scott. The EPA has approved 2 sites to store hazardous soil.
Right. EPA setting up an office. This was yesterday.
Tonight, toxic materials from the train that derailed in Northeast Ohio are being shipped out of state. However, leaders in those states claim they were kept in the dark about the dangers. That's coming as the EPA is trying to rebuild trust with people there in East Palestine. Thanks for sticking with us at 5:30. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Yolanda Harris. A chief investigative reporter, Bennett Haberly, joins us now with the very latest. Bennett?
Yolanda, both contaminated soil and liquids are among the materials being sent to at least 3 locations in Ohio and 1 in Indiana. It's all happening when the EPA Administrator Michael Regan was back in East Palestine today, trying to shore up what he called a deficit of trust. Truckload shipments of contaminated soil and liquid waste from the train derailment site were temporarily paused weekend after concerns were raised from states where those materials were being sent. Tuesday morning, Indiana's governor tweeted that he continues to object to the EPA administrator's decision to move hazardous waste from the East Palestine train derailment to Indiana, adding that there's been a lack of communication. EPA Administrator Michael Regan was back in town Tuesday and was asked about those shipments.
What we are doing is working on an alert system so that Norfolk Southern can be, as this material is moving, the appropriate authorities have the appropriate information so that the communities are not alarmed and that communities know that their safety has been taken very, very seriously.
10 Investigates was there as the truckloads of hazardous waste were being loaded up last week. They're being shipped to at least 3 facilities in Ohio, including 1 in Sandusky County.
I personally wish that we maybe would have had a couple of days sooner to know when the loads were going to start. That way we could have just done a little bit more educational outreach to our residents.
That county's EMA director said her concerns were quelled, however, after learning that most of the materials being shipped in her county involved overflow water from firefighters' foam used to combat the fire after the train derailed. What did you see that night?
Just a lot of open fire.
Scott McAleer witnessed the derailment. He lives a few houses away from where chemicals like vinyl chloride spilled. 3 weeks later, he has the concern many with fear of the unknown and concerns about long-term impacts.
Everybody wants answers. I want answers.
Don't worry about it, Josie. Keeps talking. For real. It's ridiculous.
We can't get it.
EPA has opened a storefront to try to help answer those questions.
30
harmful pollutant that occurs when vinyl chloride is burned. The EPA administrator said this when asked.
We have done the testing and put in place testing that is protective
What
of
a
the
joke.
community. as I said before, I understand the questions surrounding
What a joke.
dioxin. I want folks to understand we hear them loud and clear and understand
No,
those
you don't.
concerns.
Late this afternoon, an EPA regional administrator said that they are taking that under consideration. The EPA plans to also introduce a new bus that will do air sampling, not just air monitoring, which has been underway, all in an effort to ease people's concerns. Tomorrow, attorneys and their experts suing Norfolk Southern will get the chance to inspect the derailment site.
I wish they'd tell me their video's ending. That is really here. We're just gonna switch. I'm not dealing with it. All right. We're gonna stick on a couple of these videos. I always enjoy these Joe Rogans, so I'm gonna take a chance. I've always oh my gosh. Come on. This is crazy. Every day. All right. Been pretty cool. I've been able to play these, so I appreciate it, Mr. Rogan. This is about the train derailment, and I always enjoy these because it's real opinions with common sense. I don't think that red basket, right? It's and then all the other states that are affected soon. We already had warnings here last week. It's ridiculous. See what he says.
Palestine that talks like Mickey Mouse now?
Yeah, I did. I was just
What?
swallowing a true brain.
What's that?
It's a nootropic. You want to try it?
Yeah.
What?
Dude was on my podcast once. The doctor came up with this stuff.
Is it orange
He was a
flavored?
doctor. Is he a doctor? I don't want to give anybody extra titles. You want to try one? Want to get smarter?
No. I don't want to.
Stay where you're at?
Yeah.
Doesn't make you smarter. Helps your memory a little bit. It's good for verbal memory. Sometimes the Mary Jane fucks with the mind.
Ooh, that's delicious.
It's good, right? It's nice, little liquid, little shot. I like it.
That would be fun, Josie.
With the voice thing,
Having a
wouldn't there
garden.
be multiple videos of multiple people with that.
It could be his own reaction to it. He got a very high dose. It could be there's more people. They're not talking about
says
it.
there's more people.
More people?
It's what this article says. They're going to go check door to door.
Oh, they're sending the CDC in. That
Bro,
sounds good.
this is very scary stuff.
Yeah.
Very scary stuff.
Youngstown's 20 minutes from there. And
Did
they
you
just call it East Palestine. They don't say it's 45 minutes away from Pittsburgh or 45 minutes away from Cleveland. They just call it East Palestine.
So it's getting into Youngstown too.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting into everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Pittsburgh's really close.
Yep.
Columbus is not
Dude,
far away.
that's so scary. Did you see the dead deer that they've been finding? This dude took video. He was down by the river or this creek or whatever it is, and it's just fucking completely polluted. You know, you throw rocks, slicks, bowl up, and he found 3 dead deer, like really close to each
That's
other.
where it is on the map.
There's East Palestine.
Youngstown's up
Wow,
here.
Youngstown's right there, dude. Oh my God, Pittsburgh's right there.
Are those videos of it raining in Ohio where it was like foam? Is that fake?
I don't know.
Did you see
That's snow and all the stuff in the ground?
It's like foaming rain.
Bro, what's in those clouds? Clouds now.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And that's a cloudy place. They literally have the lake effect there. So the precipitation, that's where it's always
Gray
cloudy.
skies.
Always.
Oh my God. So
One-
it's sitting up. Above you.
Yep.
Is it? Does it dissipate? What happens to the poison that gets into the air?
Goes to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, where's it go? Like if it really hovers over you, like holy shit, and comes down when it rains. What the fuck?
The video that I don't know it's real, it showed a man outside, and when it was raining, it just seemed like it was suds, and so that's not normal. I don't know if it's a real video. It's TikTok. But
Wouldn't you think that whatever the smoke is, like whatever the particles are, they would be too heavy to just sit in the clouds? Wouldn't you think that they would fall to the ground?
I don't know.
We're too stupid to talk about this. What would you, Jamie? You're smarter than us. What do you think would happen? Like if chemicals were burned and they went into this cloud?
I think back to the movies of like the Dirty Waters just came out where they're looking into like chemical companies and people getting fucked up, and there's giant lawsuits that go on forever. Aaron Brockovich thing, I think, was a similar situation. People get fucked up.
Right. Right.
Repeat. I don't think.
Wow, you guys garden a lot. I wish I could. Yeah, these guys are surprised and stuff. I mean, what the guy's saying is true. The lake effect snow. That cloud went over Lake Erie twice. That lake effect comes from Lake Erie. So it's going to be over and over and over and over. And yeah, I mean, hell, Kevin Kraft is 30, 40 minutes away from where this took place. No, my StreamYard was being weird again. I apologize about that. It did it right before I started playing this video. I don't know. StreamYard's been really weird for like, I mean, it's had its issues for a few weeks, where one day YouTube comments don't show up, another day no pictures show up, another day YouTube videos play half and half with weird screens. Is another time, hell, the last few days, StreamYard, I'm switching tabs. It won't switch. It's doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I apologize about that. I love corn. Corn sounds so good right now. Oh. Yeah. I would love to have a garden. It's just too damn humid here. It makes you want to stay in the air conditioning. It sucks. This damn humidity.
Why would this one be different, honestly?
No, I think it is. But what I'm asking
I
is,
know.
do you think that when they burn the chemicals that they stay in the clouds? Does that make any sense?
I don't think they're gonna tell us and explain it to us, simple people.
Bro,
some people might know.
What a mad scramble! Did you see that people were trying to blame Trump because of deregulation? But it turns out that whatever deregulation he passed wouldn't have applied to this, and also wasn't instituted. It never really went through.
Crazy.
They try to blame him for
Is that true? Make sure. Okay, Jamie. What is the question?
Was the deregulation by Trump?
Was Trump era deregulation responsible for the crash? Because I think it was not.
I don't know that. I heard that it was about the.
It was a bearing
for the company, not even the train.
Oh, really?
That's what I had understood.
Really?
The deregulation was about.
Oh, really?
The train was going to happen anyway. Remember, we looked up. It was like $1,700 a year.
So the deregulation was just basically like giving money to the corporations, or letting them pay less money.
I don't know. I'm just first thing says Washington Post analysis. So far, Trump's rollback of regulations can't be blamed for the train wreck.
There you go, and that's Washington Post. So if that's Washington Post, see, NTSB chair contradicts post that wrongly claimed Trump to blame for Ohio train wreck. But that's like a thing that people do immediately. Whenever there's something fucked up, they immediately point at Trump. He did it. He did it. But when the problem like that is, like, when you say he did it, a lot of people hear, oh, he did it. And then how many people hear the follow-up? How many people here are like, no, he didn't do it, and this is actually what happened? I bet it's probably like 60-40, right?
Yeah.
I bet like 40%.
Says Gage calls on Trump to back reversing deregulation and
See, he messes it up too.
They're saying it comes from.
It's not just
I bet
me.
like 40% find out that it was.
It's not just Buttigieg.
Calls on Trump to back reversing deregulation in wake of train derailment. They're saying it comes from this letter.
Well, maybe he's correct. Let's read what he has to say. Like, maybe both things could be true, right? What could be true is that the deregulation is bad, and what also could be true is that Trump wasn't responsible for this particular crash. Both things can be true. Says one thing he can do to express support for reversing the deregulation that happened on his watch. I heard him say he had nothing to do with it, even though it was in his administration. So if he had nothing to do with it and they did it in his administration against his will, maybe he can come out and say that he supports us moving in a different direction. That seems very reasonable, doesn't it? White House has blamed Republican lawmakers in the Trump administration for lax railway and environmental regulations in the aftermath of the derailment. White House has pointed to a 2021 letter from the Republican senators to the Federal Railroad Administration urging the agency to expand the use of automated track inspection, and pointed to a Republican study committee proposal to cut to government funding for to address chemical spills. That's a weird way to proposal to cut to government funding. I think it's just a typo there. Additionally, Politico reported the Trump administration rolled back several safety measures for railways, including regular safety audits and an Obama-era rule that required faster brakes on trains carrying flammable materials. Dude, how about the fastest brakes?
Yeah.
It's containing flammable materials.
Right.
How about the fastest fucking brakes you can make? But that's a true thing, though, that this particular rail that thing happened on was not set up for transferring hazardous waste, right? Or hazardous materials. Isn't that true? I think they're saying that train was not set up for having that kind of stuff on it. It's like, bro, it can just fall off the tracks going like 300 miles an hour and explode. Like, what do you got in there? And you're gonna ruin everything forever, all around it. Like, how long before they clean that up?
Oh,
right.
What are they going to do with? Yeah. So I'm
What
reading.
are they gonna do with this
What are they
stuff?
doing with it? They're putting it in a landfill
In
it says.
Indiana, right?
Putnam County landfill.
Great. Terrific.
Put it in the earth.
Driving it across the state. Put it
If you
somewhere else.
own a landfill, bro, you can put anything in there. Computers, bodies, old cocaine, like wrestlers.
4 hours ago story.
Ohio toxic train disaster leads to more concerns in other states, while scientists say chemical tests in East Palestine are unusually high.
I mean,
yeah, you think?
Look at that.
Unusually high. Really? What a crazy statement. Unusually high. How about toxic for humans? I mean, what happens to those people that can't move? Those people that are stuck there, like they can't afford to move. They got nowhere to go.
That's everybody there, by the way.
Yeah. At least it's going to be really cheap to move them somewhere else, like $550,000 houses everywhere. You know?
Bro, I mean, you got to get those people out of there.
Yeah.
More than that.
Like, how dangerous is it, you think, to be there right now? Is it just groundwater, or is it air? Is it everything?
It's gotta be, well, not so much the air now, but everything else. I need to see if I can find, and I'll show you those pictures here after this video is done, Josie. I need to find this video they were talking about, the guy that was throwing rocks in the water and then found some deer. 3 of them. I'm gonna have to go around on Twitter or something. It might be on Twitter, maybe. And everything they're saying is true. They should have been buying these properties ASAP, not downplaying it.
fuck, man. You know how scary that would be? Poor and you were stuck in that spot.
Was that plane crash real that happened?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know that spot, that story.
What happened,
dude? A plane that was
Right.
headed with. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
It seemed.
Yeah.
Heading to Ohio.
I want to triple check, but I'm pretty sure there were five environmental
them.
scientists who died in a plane crash were headed to East Palestine, Ohio. It says false. 5 employees of an environmental consulting firm died in a plane crash near Little Rock, Arkansas on Wednesday, but they were not traveling to East Palestine where a freight train derailed.
No.
The employees were responding to an unrelated February 20th explosion at a metals plant in a Cleveland suburb more than 60 miles away. Okay. So it wasn't true. So yeah.
No.
So
And that's the one that Kevin Kraft said, damn. And I even thought, whoa, shit, was that Kevin's job? He even thought it might be his job, but no, it wasn't. Everything's all good.
the facts in the days since the February 22nd plane crash, some social media users have falsely claimed the aircraft was transporting environmental scientists to East Palestine, where a freight train derailment earlier in the month prompted officials to intentionally release and burn toxic vinyl chloride to avoid the danger of an uncontrolled blast. Okay, so it wasn't true.
Yeah.
So there was a plane crash filled with scientists, but they were going to a different spill.
That seems a little fishy. Why are
Josie. Or what's up, Cherry, sorry. Josie. Yeah, that's interesting about the Wuhan stuff because there is a video I'm going to get to tonight. It's I haven't talked about the spy balloon stuff for about a week, but there's a video on there about China's new response about that just came out a little bit ago. I'm going to get to that at some point here. Yeah. And I didn't realize about the nursing home stuff in 2020. What is that one related to COVID or something when COVID took off? Yeah. And I heard us come out and say, yeah, it originated from the Wuhan lab, and then all of a sudden they're backtracking. Now I got a response to play from China. We'll see. This back and forth is crazy. Ever since Pelosi's trip.
there are 5 environmental scientists going to some other thing nobody's heard of when there's this massive tragedy 60 minutes away? And that's probably the closest major. Well, I guess Pittsburgh is a more major airport that's closer, but that's the second
we
closest.
would have to. Well, first of all, we didn't know these scientists were going there, right? So we would have to assume they've already sent scientists to East Palestine.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell you that they're doing that, right? It's not like they make a press release like, hey, we're sending scientists to find out, because then people would want to know, like, what's the results? Like, if the results are unprintable, like if the results are like, oh my God, like everyone's gonna die. Like, who knows what the results are?
And we know that if it is unprintable, they're not going to tell us anyway.
So if
from
they sent,
past everything.
If they sent 5 people to this other crash, how many did they send?
5,000.
How many did they send to East Palestine? They want to like check for sure. They want to like double and triple check on this one because this is a doozy. People are calling it like an American Chernobyl. It's like, this is scary shit.
Yeah.
It's wild that those things happen all the time. We Googled it the other day. There's like 1,000 derailments a year. They happen all the time. Bro.
100.
Fuck.
Brigham sent me a meme that was like, if you want
1,700. What's the meme?
Want to run a train properly, here's who you should hire, and it's that cop lady that got.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen those. She's in like 10 memes. Poor gal.
Look for getaway. Homemade salsa. All right, let me go to these pictures real quick. So there's before. Dang. That garden blew up. Holy crap. All right. Here's before. Cool little fence. After. Why won't it let me scroll left and right? There we go. Didn't have very many tomatoes last year, so didn't can any. Inspirational gardening pictures. Speaking of that China response, I'm going to go ahead and switch to that. Man, tomatoes sounds so good right now too. Yum. Forgot to make me a new folder today for March. All right, so we're going to switch to this. Drone footage shows that's in Greece. Okay, we watched that. Venus and Jupiter in the sky tonight. Here it is right here with the lab leak theory. I didn't even know that they had a response to it, so definitely want to watch this. I'm wondering what the response is to the balloon stuff too. I know they're not happy about that. They're not happy about a lot of stuff with us.
China is not too happy about that whole lab leak thing. The communist nation slamming the FBI and accusing the Bureau of politicizing the deadly virus and wants America to respect science and facts. But that's not going to deter FBI Director Christopher Wray. This is what he said he thinks the Chinese are hiding.
I will just make the observation that the Chinese government, seems to me, has been doing its best to try to thwart and obfuscate the work here, the work that we're doing, the work that our U.S. government and close foreign partners are doing. And that's unfortunate for everybody.
China clearly wants to move on, and a former Biden COVID advisor might agree.
Even if the Chinese were to come forward and say nobody in the lab had been infected, that they did not have this virus in the lab, would anybody in the world believe them? And so I think we have to move on. And I worry that we're wasting time getting prepared for the next virus to hit us.
And Congress kicks off their primetime hearings on China. One witness says China
Wow.
poses more threats than the Soviet Union ever did.
It makes you wonder if this sinus stuff is another version of it. You know, the way that it's been going around everywhere, the way that it lingers. It's another respiratory type illness. Chat headlights. What? Joseph. It sure did tear up the economy, didn't it? Man. Before COVID, the economy was not too bad. Now? Fuck.
General, do you think that China poses a greater threat to our freedom and the world's freedom than the Soviet Union ever did?
What?
do.
Come
And this
on.
from Congressman Jim Banks, who was asking about what one of the witnesses thought could be happening inside the lab.
Do you think there is a chance that the Wuhan lab was involved in bioweapons research?
Well, I think that we know for certain
Uh-huh.
that the Chinese military is involved in research into coronaviruses.
Okay, so that doesn't bode well. for the
What?
world.
What kind of
Seems like it
response
was a
is
dual
that?
use lab. You look at it for science, but you also look at it for bioweapons, and that's why we were sending some of these grants over there to finance the gain of function, but also get a little window into what they were researching to kill us. And that's probably why the CIA was like, I don't really know what's going on. But if it was bio and they did it on purpose, it backfired, because now the whole world hates China. It kind of slowed their economic momentum down. And now we took a lot of our factories out of there and we're strangling them with export and import controls. I don't think that China is necessarily a bigger threat than Russia was. If you just look back at it, the nuclear weapons capability of Russia at the time was crazy. They had more of a worldwide ideological threat in Latin America and Asia. We lost a lot of guys in the Korean War, lost a lot of men in Vietnam. But I guess China is more of an economic threat. Listen, if the FBI,
I like this
the
guy.
Energy Department, which runs biolabs all over the world, 3 whistleblowers, and all of my friends in the virus community all say that this thing is man-made, then I'm going to go with that instead of Dr. Fauci, who was China's lab partner. He was
Right.
the lab partner of the guy that killed
Right.
1 million Americans. And it's amazing that after 2 years, the Democrats did nothing on this. All they did was investigate January 6th. And then all of a sudden, the Republicans come in and we finally start getting some answers to what happened here. And still, the Democrats are still covering up. Not only are they covering up the January 6th investigation, but they're covering up the lab leak situation. What a bunch of you-know-whats, Dave.
Wow, you sound like me.
You know what?
He speaks the truth, man.
What about the guy who says, let's just move on?
Oh,
This guy's funny.
he's a C word.
This guy's funny.
A
This guy's
crackpot. Yeah, be suspicious of anyone who says we got to move on. You don't move on from 7 million dead, right? We need this. This can't be a show trial. It can't just be China, 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 the way Jan 6 was Trump, Trump, Trump. It can't be for political gain. You have to have specific goals and reach conclusions. Who was involved, what was done, figure out what we're going to do, and then we hang them. No, I don't know what we do. I love the lab leak deniers, what their excuses. Now you're seeing the excuses come out. Their excuses are, well, the people that were pro lab leak, well, they were Republicans. So they probably were racist, right? They were, because it's China. So we couldn't be on that side. So it's their fault for being right because they're bigots. It wasn't our fault for feeling that way. No, you felt that way. They weren't racist. You felt that way, and you're blaming your stupid feelings on the well, you're blaming your mistake on your stupid feelings. It's crazy how the left prioritizes evil, right? The same people who call it a hate crime when you dead name someone probably have never heard of the Uyghurs, right? They don't know about the child labor that goes into their iPhones and their shoes, or that China probably killed their grandparents. But damn, you better not use the wrong pronoun.
Hey,
that's what we are.
You forgot all the coal-fired power plants are using. That's
Yes.
another one, right?
Thank you, Dana.
The other thing that the Chinese have said is that our government is being very overhanded, and that we're like an authoritarian government.
Yeah. Apparently, the People's Republic of China demanded that the House Select Committee stop denigrating the Communist Party of China. I think they should not only denigrate, but they should delegitimize them. As far as we're concerned, we should be decoupling from China, but we can't do that because we have so many things that are made in China that we need, like all kinds of medicines. And that's the problem. But I'm hoping that the problem with China, and I agree. I mean, to say you can't do 2 things at one time, I mean, are you stupid? I mean, we've just got to get on to making sure we're.
Well, interesting that you bring that up, Josie, because I was hearing today that some states are trying to get retirement age to 70 now, where you have to be 70. to try and save the government some money. And they're going to take the money that they would spend for the people that would have been able to retire, and they're going to invest that and then try and get interest off of it. That's like giving somebody on Wall Street all the money you have in your bank account and next month's rent and bill money, hoping that you can get some kind of profit from it. Do you really think, with the way the inflation goes every year and how they keep having to have these frickin' things, where the government's not going to be able to pay its bills every frickin' time? You really honestly think that it's going to come out good in the end if they cut? It don't sound right. And now you're going to have to be 70. It ain't even going to exist soon. That's why I never understood. Why don't people who pay into Social Security, why doesn't that go into their own Social Security account? Then you don't have 5 people paying for one person. It's called, if you put it in, then you get it back. Like a 401k. If you ain't putting nothing in 401k, that's your fault. And that's what it seemed like when this COVID crap came out. It's like, whoa, is this some kind of bioweapon? Because it's kind of interesting how you have a press conference, over the last year, talking about how you want to be the dominant power in the world and overtake the U.S. and economic and all this other stuff and military power. And then all of a sudden, this virus gets leaked out. It is crazy.
Prepared for the next pandemic instead of trying out what happened the last one. Oh, we can only do,
That's what caused that one. We're planning the next one.
Yeah, but to the extent that China is involved in the fentanyl undeclared war that we've been talking about, they should be declared a transnational drug organization. Because they're killing Americans. It is an undeclared war. And we were their lab partner. We were funding through the Eco Health Alliance, and everybody's covering their butt, and that's a sad situation. But I'm hoping that China maybe can bring Democrats and Republicans together. That maybe if we realize the danger of this country and what they're trying to do to us politically and economically and socially, I mean, it is frightening. So.
Shit, it's hard to make it off more than that, I can't imagine trying to make it off of $1,200 a month. Shit. And then you're at that age, you got all that medication too. You got to come on.
That's what I wanted to ask Jessica about, is just how bipartisan this committee actually was. And yesterday there was no sniping towards each other. There was no snark. It was serious and smart, and they brought people together in a prime time. Do you think that can continue?
I hope so.
As long as Republicans are in charge.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about what Jesse said about Democrats obscuring what happened on January 6th, since we were the only ones, plus Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, who cared to actually talk about it and in hearings. But I think that we can maintain it. There were over the weekend here, actually, on the Lower East Side against the Chinese Communist Party, led by Richie Torres and Mike Gallagher from Oregon, and a Democrat. I think that it is something that can go forward. And to your point about why can't we do so, one, why can't you take the bullying from Department of Energy, a little bit higher. The bad.
You don't have proof that that was connected.
No,
That's
no,
the
but-
problem.
No,
the problem
it's
is
not
there's
part
a
of the
lot of
problem.
anti-Asian violence. Had nothing to do with Trump calling it the Chinese flu.
You don't think-
There's something else going on. You know that.
I know how to point to.
I have shorter arms, so it's less offensive.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
Yes, that's how it works.
Oh.
Your arms are very long. I felt like that was a microaggression.
Yeah.
And me being micro.
I know what you're eating my time. There is a direct correlation to having a virus that is killing people in this country that we know came from China. There was a huge spike in it, and I know that it was more black people that were beating up Asian people than white people, that it was ridiculous to call it a function of white
And they're big
supremacy.
Trumpers.
No,
They're big Trumpers.
I didn't.
Eat it up. Eat that time up.
Yep, go ahead.
It's really irritating. Jon Stewart is the best about this. If you haven't seen him with Stephen Colbert, where he's talking, in fact, this probably lab leak, and he does this hilarious thing where he says, you know, there's a big flood of chocolate in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. We made
And
that
no one
joke a
knows-
year
Yeah,
ago.
we
We did the
did.
same thing, but you weren't there. But we made that same.
Well, I was on maternity leave because I made life.
Oh,
and
Damn.
take that.
Damn.
I will take that.
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't. Anyway, watch the old clip, and Jon Stewart is
Yes,
also
watch
funny.
them all.
Wow.
Watch it all and watch us when we come right back.
I went to Brian.
Yeah, that whole group is funny. He did keep cutting her off, though. Jeez, he is a riot, Josie. Especially his personal show later on. I don't get to watch it too much anymore since I have my own show. Busy doing all sorts of other stuff. I do miss seeing his show, though. Aw. Always. All right, let me switch. Let's see, this was from where'd it go? I had a link from Kib Kitty here. Why is it not taking me there? There we go. Okay. Oh man, come on, StreamYard. I love his little round table. Well, not a table, but okay. This is Status Coop News. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hopefully, that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. This is. I didn't say that. DeWine denies when asked why he said he didn't call President Biden back after Biden offered anything you need in response to train explosion. I never heard anything about that. Oh, I liked it and retweeted it. Oh, I must have was gonna play it. Okay. Let's see here.
These folks have given results to the water testing that are accurate. I mean, a lot of these folks are rightfully untrustful of these tests. The initial tests that were done were being done by Norfolk Southern. They were being hired by independent contractors from Norfolk Southern, correct?
These are tests. The tests that we are doing, we're doing double testing. So the testing is being done by the Ohio EPA or the US EPA.
Okay, that was not the case to start, though.
Well, let me just,
why does
we continue to do that testing.
Gotcha. One more question, if that's okay. So the what took so long to get FEMA involved here? Go ahead. What took so long to get FEMA involved?
Look, the most important thing
and
was
reaching out to the federal government. You would on an interview I watched, you said straight up that the President Biden said that he would provide aid. I don't think he's done nearly enough, and I think a lot of residents here do. But you said you didn't return the phone call. It seems like it's been thing after thing. And
that. Look, the president called me and said, "Anything you need." I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
Why isn't there federal money now for
Wow.
these people to move?
Well, there should be, but Governor DeWine has to ask FEMA to come in, and he hasn't done it yet.
You didn't say that? No.
Wow. Wow. Oh, come on. Why is it buffering?
not say that at all. What I said was the President of the United States called and offered.
Or you hadn't called back.
Excuse me.
Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, you're not letting me finish. The sentence. So, look, the President of the United States called and asked if there's anything else we can do. I told the President that U.S. EPA had been here from the beginning. Within hours, they were here. They're working very, very closely with our Ohio EPA. So they're continue to do that.
Gotcha.
And that's what's going on.
Well, I hope you all make it right for these people because they're certainly not happy.
Wow. Looked like he was gonna freaking just take off, and then he ended up staying there. It's crazy. They think we're so fucking gullible, you know? They think we're so gullible. Like we're just gonna believe whatever. And I want to share something that ATS News tagged me in. I want to say thank you to her. This is something I'm going to be going into with Delphi stuff, and I'm probably going to be doing Delphi tomorrow night. This is crazy. I didn't even know anything like this, but we're going to be looking into it. Investigators looking into possible link between Stevenson murders and Delphi case. So when it'll probably be tomorrow night. Stevenson murders with the connection to Delphi and some Delphi stuff. Look at this, so check
It was
this
a
out.
very complex, brutal, disturbing crime scene.
One of Boone County's most horrific killings remains unsolved. It's 12 years later, but the detectives working the Stevenson case are leaving no stone unturned. In recent months, their investigation has led them even to Indiana to look at a possible connection to this highly publicized Delphi murders.
To these new developments in part one of the story from Cincinnati's Crime Vault.
Detective Cox and his made a Boone County. They say the murder perhaps to Delphi, and they're pursuing potential breaks in the case using a DNA profile.
May 29th, 2011 was sunny Sunday in the suburbs.
It was a spring day, like most around here in northern Kentucky.
But the day quickly turned dark after a gruesome discovery.
It was a very complex, brutal, disturbing crime scene.
Two people, both 74 years old, were found dead inside their Boone County home. A beloved husband and wife, Bill and Peggy Stevenson. A concerned family member found them when they didn't show up for church.
We think it was, a very quick surprise attack. There was some blunt force trauma.
Detective Coy Cox and his partner Tim Adams were sent to the scene. The house had been altered and the bodies were staged.
There were things that were done to their bodies that was horrific. They changed several things in the scene, which is really, really unusual for any murder scene anywhere in the country or in the world.
Whoever killed the couple did not take off right away.
There was quite a bit of time that the perpetrators, the killers, stayed in the residence or felt comfortable coming back to the scene.
In general, detectives believe that kind of behavior points to a suspect who knows the victim.
Amazing people, good Christian people. They wanted to share their faith and their love with the community. And
they've missed out on so much. They've missed on weddings. They've missed out on 3 new great grandbabies. graduations, like I said, weddings of the grandkids. All the grandkids are married.
That's Bill and Peggy's daughter, Beth Stevenson Victor. She describes her parents as devoted churchgoers, a couple who loved their big family. Peggy was the quiet one, an experienced and talented musician.
Played for many weddings,
Wow.
funerals, played for a couple of the grandkids' weddings. Yeah, she loved to play the organ. She played the piano too.
Bill was the opposite, known as the life of the party. A man heavily involved in ministry, he shared his faith with truck drivers every Sunday at a truck stop in Florence.
They had a trailer out that they would open up during the week, and if truckers wanted to stop in and pray, they would pray with them.
That connection to the community became a possible lead for detectives Cox and Adams. Today, they handle the sheriff's cold case unit, but they're still investigating the Stevenson case. Over the
detectives are looking into the link between the Stevenson murders and the Delphi case. So, and I was probably going to be doing Delphi tomorrow night. I had planned on it earlier this week, so we're going to go into these Stevenson murders probably in the beginning and go through some of the Delphi stuff that I already have put together. Yeah. So it's Bill and Peggy Stevenson. If you can see how it's spelled. Bill and Peggy. And if you have any information or links or videos you'd like to send me for tomorrow night's show, please do. I'm going to go ahead and have some stuff, and I have some Delphi stuff ready. If there's anything Delphi interesting too, go ahead and send it to me as well. If I already have it in my folder, it's cool. If I don't, hey, it's more. How did the two die together? Honestly, I don't even know about the case. I remember hearing about the name Bill and Peggy, and I remember the picture because that picture's been all over. But I'm not really sure, so that'll be in the beginning of the show. And then after that, we'll be diving into all the other Delphi stuff that I have. So I already have some Delphi stuff put together for tomorrow night. But I'll need to look up some stuff on these Stevenson murders, see what they're all about, and then kind of see what we think. What could be the connection? Is there a connection? Obviously, we don't know from LE's side because they're just starting to look at the link between them. But maybe we can take a look into these murders ourselves and then see what we think the connection could be. And I'll open up the panel. If anybody would want to hop on tomorrow night while we have this show, you're more than welcome. And if you'd like to entertain your theories and thoughts and opinions on the whole possible connection, I would love to. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, SRB. I mean, I already had a bunch of Delphi stuff, but I want to say thank you to ATS. She tagged me in this. I appreciate it. Because it's going to definitely add another element. And we'll just go ahead and get into that in the beginning, and then we'll see. We'll watch it together. We'll discuss it together, the murders, and then we'll see what we think the connection could be. What do we think the detectives are looking into with the link? So gonna be interesting. Yeah, I don't really know too much about it. Definitely gonna enjoy learning about it tomorrow. Thank you again, ATS.
The years, they've interviewed a lot of truck drivers.
Early on in the investigation, we had information that someone had been at the truck stop looking for Bill pretty aggressively, banging on the door of the chapel, asking if anyone had seen Bill.
There are truckers they've ruled out, others still on their radar. They've also looked into Charles Stevie Stevenson, the nephew of Bill and Peggy.
What?
Detective Cox says they've even spoken to him recently. Stevie is locked up, spending life in prison for beating an Indiana woman to death with a skillet.
We feel pretty comfortable that that's in a good place. There is no final statement on there. It isn't that he's been cleared, but we have certainly vetted him in every way possible.
One of the largest developments in the case could still bring them the break they need to close it. Detective Cox says they have an unknown DNA profile.
We don't know who that DNA belongs to, and it was found at our crime scene.
It is complex, so genealogy isn't an option, at least right now. There is testing they can do to try to find a match, and that's something they're actively pursuing.
We're just still hopeful, that they'll come up with the right evidence that they need, and a confession would be great. But we're still hopeful that they'll solve it.
More than a decade later, tips continue to come in. Detectives even traveled across state lines in recent weeks to see if what happened to the Stevensons has any connection to the murder of 2 young girls in Delphi.
We had received some information from an individual regarding the Delphi murders in Indiana, and they had said for all of these reasons, we believe it may be the same person that was involved in the Stevenson case.
There's still much more to share. And part 2 will explain what detectives are doing now with that DNA profile, and will tell you exactly what led them to Delphi and what's happening now with that lead. Plus, Bill and Peggy's daughter shares more about the impact this tragedy has had on the family. Part 2 is at 10:30.
Wow. A nightmare that you never wake up from, and that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy.
So
Sitting there pausing like crazy. Yeah. Here, let me switch to this real quick. Yeah, this is gonna... Oh, I have Spotify open and I shouldn't have. Yeah, download my Spotify playlist. Definitely check it out. You ain't gonna get bored, that's for sure. All right, we'll take a look at this here. One second. Okay. Whoops. All right, we'll save that. May 29th, 2011. William and Peggy Stevenson were found murdered inside their home located in Florence, Kentucky. A family member discovered their bodies after William, a.k.a. Bill, did not show up for the Sunday service at the Truckers' Chapel or the services held at Union Baptist Church. That was the gentleman that they just showed walking out at the end of that video. Bill Stevenson ran the Truckers' Chapel at the Travel America truck stop in Florence for many years. Bill and Peggy Stevenson were both 74 years old at the time of their death. In 2011? I'm baffled. I'm just from the get-go, I'm baffled here. I'm baffled how they think it as a possible connection here. It's definitely going to be interesting getting into this. You started looking into it this morning, really? Yeah, this came across ATS sent it to me. Well, tagged me in it. And that was that video we just watched. I'm like, huh? So yeah, I'm going to check it out tomorrow. I'm going to go into this. I'm just looking it up real quick just to see what happened. I remember their pictures. I don't remember what took place. But yeah, I was just going to check it out for a second and probably go into it tomorrow at the beginning of the show, and then a bunch of the other Delphi stuff I have. What are you doing tomorrow night, Justice? Would you like to hop on and join me? And you're more than welcome. Anybody's more than welcome to join tonight. Shoot, I forgot to put that out there. Anybody can. I'm just hanging out tonight. Not doing anything particular. Just kind of going through some stuff. So, Boone County, Kentucky. 2 detectives. (5/29/2011). Officials have killer's DNA. Whoa, what? Whoa, where's this link taking me to? It's supposed to be DNA or something. Is this jankgoogle.com? Is that where it took me? It took me to Jank Google. Shit. Took me to Jank Google. All right, there we go. Get rid of that. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to have to see. Do you have any little documentaries on it, Justice? Yeah, that jank Google will fuck you up. It'll give you some bunk information is what it'll do. Just ask Justice. It was telling her I was 54 years old. What the hell? They trick you though, because it's that extra button, you know? When you're only supposed to hit 4, but you hit 5 on accident because you think you only hit 3. And then all of a sudden it sends you to jank Google. It looks like real Google, but it's jank Google. You got to watch it. Then it gives you all sorts of crazy ass information if you're not careful. Crime scene similar, huh? Huh. I'll have to check it out tomorrow. Yeah, I'll have to, after the show tonight, I'll have to see if there's any kind of little mini stories on it we can kind of chill back and watch together and see what's up and kind of talk about maybe what we think about the connection, if there is one, why not, see what we think. Yeah, or is there 800 people with your name? What? I don't know. I don't know if there is. Do not know if there is. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Stevenson murder case. I want to watch that video again just to kind of check it out one more time.
For nearly 10 or 12 years, the dark, devastating murders of Bill and Peggy Stevenson have left a lot of loved ones just living in fear.
Yeah, answers could be coming as detectives follow up on new leads involving DNA testing and a potential connection to Delphi, Indiana.
Jessica Schmidt explains the very latest developments in part 2 of this story from Cincinnati's Crime Vault.
Part 2. So
Well,
there's
at
a
this
part
stage of
1.
the investigation, detectives tell me they are not prepared to rule anything or anyone out. They've tried everything, including talking to mediums and psychics and announcing a $50,000 reward for information, and working on some of their latest leads right now. The disturbing deaths of Bill and Peggy Stevenson left so many in the Boone County community shattered.
It was just horrible.
2011? Like 2011 though. Because there's so, I don't know. We're gonna have to go into this tomorrow night. I don't know. Something's just weird. Something's just weird.
You know, just to find out that they're both gone and that it wasn't an accident, wasn't
Okay, hold on. My
carbon
chat's being
monoxide.
weird.
It was at the
I'll get my. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that, Kib Kitty. Speaking of, I need to do Dre's order tonight. She messaged me earlier and let me know exactly what she wants. So I'm going to try and get her order up there tonight before I go to bed. Yeah, thank you. You get your hoodie and baseball cap March 17th to 20th. So it takes 3 weeks. All right. On the number of people, but some people have popular names. I'm lost what we're talking about on that right now. The suspect was looking for Williams Stevenson at the trail. Weird. Oh no, that's crazy. I need to get me a hat. I need to make me a hat and then get me a hat so that I can wear on the show. Instead of the hat I have, I can wear my own hat. Right? The suspect has an item token from Can't Be Small. They already talked to this suspect. So they've already talked to this person? Who's the person? I'm a rare breed as well. The Bill guy? Or somebody else?
hands of somebody else. It was almost too much to bear.
The couple was murdered inside their own home in May 2011 after living lives filled with love and ministry. Their daughter, Beth, calls it an incredibly scary situation.
Wait, what
Constantly
did you
looking over your shoulder, and just up until about an accident wasn't carbon monoxide. It was at the hands of somebody else. It was almost too much to bear.
The couple was murdered inside their own.
Hold on one second. My chat is being weird here. They followed him around asking him about this item. I'm confused. You're going to go with a different... Well, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what hat I should go with. I mean, I could get the snapback. I don't know. My red hat is like my signature hat. Maybe I just need a new red baseball cap, because it'll look the same with me wearing it backwards. It'll look the same. It would be nice to have a blue one at some point. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of confused about this whole case here.
Home in May 2011 after living life.
Yeah, the blue. I'm thinking like Chicago Cubs or Kansas City Chief or Kansas City Royals. Like the Kansas City Royals, the LA Dodgers, Chicago Cubs, that blue. It's that bright blue. Whatever baseball team is bright blue. Like that hat. I guess the blue that yeah, it'd be like the evil CJ blue pretty much. But just the same baseball logo in the middle on the back.
Lives filled with love and ministry. Their daughter Beth calls it an incredibly scary situation.
You're constantly looking over your shoulder. And just up until about 3 years ago, my front blinds never opened. Just within the last 3 years, I've been able to sit with the blinds open.
It was a complex crime scene.
Pretty bad that somebody could stay, that they could stage something and stay with bodies like that for, multiple hours. It was pretty sick.
That's why detectives Coy Cox and Tim Adams are not willing to close the door on anything.
We are careful in this case because of the complexity of some of the evidence, not to say that anyone has been ruled out, but we certainly take it all the way down the path as far as we can to where it's like, okay, we don't see the need to go on down this path because it's not looking like that is our individual.
In November 2022, a tip led them to a neighboring state.
We had received some information from an individual regarding the Delphi murders in Indiana.
Really?
And they had said for all of these reasons, we believe it may be the same person that was involved in the Stevenson case.
Right away, detectives started looking into a possible connection between Bill and
That is our individual.
In November 2022, a tip led them
November
to a neighboring state.
2022.
We had received some information from an individual regarding the Delphi.
November 2022. They received some information regarding somebody from Delphi. So what? I definitely need to research this and see what the hell all this is. Huh. Man, I wish I had more time to really look this up.
Murders in Indiana, and they had said for all of these reasons.
That's a creepy shot. When you look at it, it's actually has a lot of updates to it and has been. They're actually putting a lot of work to it now. With updating it, which is interesting.
We believe it may be
4 months ago, only 5 months. It would be neat to have royal blue with white stitching. I don't know. I'm going to have to take a look at the hats on my store. I'd really like to just get one of my own hats, like the baseball cap or maybe even the trucker cap. Maybe I'll get the trucker cap and just wear it forward, or hell, I'll just wear it backward. I don't know. But I can... I don't know. I'll have to take a look.
Be the same person that was involved in the Stevenson case.
Right away, detectives started looking into a possible connection between Bill and Peggy's 2011 murder and the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi.
Because one was beaten and... I don't know, I'm just confused here. I don't know, I'm just really gonna have to look this up to see what this whole... connection thing is. Maybe then it'll start I'll start to understand it. I don't know. It's Yankees is blue and white. Mine's yeah. Well, I don't want that dark blue. I want the bright blue, like the Cubs bright blue. So whatever team would be like the Cubs bright blue, that's the kind of blue.
Delphi, Indiana in 2017, a case that's garnered national attention.
There's things that will make you really interested in a case, simply more than just somebody saying, hey, we think this person might have been involved. But we had a little piece of information that really made that case specifically interesting to us.
The information pointed Boone County investigators toward a specific person who had a specific item they were interested in.
I'm not going to tell you about that, what that item was. We've
What?
recently been in the northern part of Indiana, investigating this guy, following him around, looking for things, collecting all of the information and the evidence that we would need to at least vet him as best we could with our case. He was cooperative. We were able to go down that path with him, and he articulated good reason to why that may have existed.
They sent what they found to Indiana State Police, since they are handling the murder investigation of Abby and Libby. To be clear, Detective Cox says their investigation into a potential link between the two cases did not include Richard Allen.
We received information from Indiana as it related to some persons, and we forwarded that
What's up,
to
Dre?
them. We did not send them the information that led them to Richard Allen. We sent them information that may have had some parallel consistencies with where they are with that case right now.
When Boone County detectives were in Delphi, Allen was already in jail, where he has been since October of 2022, accused of Abby and Libby's murders.
I know that sounds a little cloak and dagger, but I'm just sorry about that. We're not going any further with that.
That's not the only lead they're following.
We have two gentlemen that are in the trucking profession that we have collected DNA from, and we are awaiting response back from the Kentucky State Police Lab.
They're waiting on results from the lab to see if the truck driver's DNA matches the unknown profile found at the Stevenson crime scene. It has Detective Cox feeling hopeful. As someone who has been on the case since day one, it's personal.
That's hard. That's on my watch. That's my case. I want to solve it. I don't want to say it's more special, but it's a very special case, and really like to get it solved, as we would all of them, obviously. But yeah, this one has a little extra, tug.
For Bill and Peggy's family, all of these developments feel like a step toward peace, justice, and healing.
Somebody deserves to pay for what they did. And I think we owe it to them. I keep looking at their picture. We owe it to them, to find answers for them.
We brought up a lot of leads in this two-part story. DNA.
Wow. This is interesting. I definitely need to get some info on that. So these are the potential leads. Developments. Here, I'll put the link to this in chat if you'd like to have the link. Good night, Kib Kitty. I appreciate you hanging out. Here's the link if you'd like the link. Huh. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. No, not really. I mean, I got tagged in this update on the Delphi case, and I was just kind of taking a look at it. We just got into some stuff with the Ohio train derailment in the beginning of the show. After that, um, just checked out a couple world updates and stuff, and then got into this. Pretty interesting. I'm just hanging out tonight, open topics, case updates. Yeah, this is going to be interesting going over it tomorrow night. Yeah, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm probably not going to be on too much longer either. I'm probably going to be doing some research tonight so I can have some really good information for you guys tomorrow when I do my show. Try and get some research going tonight. I mean, tonight I had no time. It's crazy. But I got the new customization to my desk I wanted to do. So now I have plenty more room on my desk to be able to be a lot more comfy. And I might be able to move my mic arm to a normal spot now, I'm thinking. But it allows me to, I got my screen is another 1.5 feet back, so that makes it real comfy. This weekend, I'm actually gonna try and see if I can do a new camera position. Now that my screen for the show, my monitor is farther back now, I don't think my camera being straight in front of me is actually going to make it look like it's looking down on me. It's actually going to look at me now. So I think with me doing this new customization I did to my desk after work today, I think it's going to allow me to actually get my camera to be straight in front of me now instead of off to the side. So I'm going to try and mess around with it this weekend, see if it'll actually work or not. Because when I first was doing it, it was like you guys were like looking at the top of my head. It was like, yeah, this is not going to work. It's going to have to go to the side. But I'm going to try and do that this weekend. Let's see if I can finally get the camera straight on, like I do on Twitch. Man, I haven't been on Twitch for a while. I have 2 families who asked for help with their missing, so I am working. Nice. Fingers crossed. 1080 StreamYard option. Right now it's $25 a month. I think that is like 45 or something. Or maybe 50. Because, yeah, right now I can only run it on 720. My camera actually can go to like 2,000 something. But it's only allowed to go to I think it's 720. But I mean, come on, I paid $25 for this shit. You know what I'm saying? You think I'd be getting 1080 at least. You think. Oh, fuck, I never turned my camera on. Hold on. Damn, I'm on mute. What the hell? StreamYard. Fuck, man. Sitting here. Yeah, I wish I had 2 monitors. Make the show a lot easier. Yeah, that's cool. Do you know when you're going to be doing a show, Justice? Beauty lights or something at Walmart without mic in front of you? What? I was thinking, did he say... No, I didn't say goodnight. Burlington, Kentucky. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, when's one has only been. Ah. Yeah, fingers crossed. I need to do something like that too, you know, missing children, local stuff. There was a couple I was kind of checking out. But I might do those. I was talking about maybe doing them like Sunday mornings, early afternoons or something, maybe once a month. Something like that, just to kind of, you know, do the same. Put the spotlight on the local stuff too. You know, we do talk a lot of this national stuff. There's a lot of local stuff of missing kids and things like that that it doesn't, you know, you got these parents on local news just trying to put information out there. It's only local for the most part. Some of it goes national, but let me see here. Burlington, Kentucky. All right, we're going to switch back here. I wanted to just see what else came out. So, does anybody know this Robert Tellis? And speaking of, there's another close call on the runway at Boston Logan International. What's up with these close calls at airports now? The other one is a cold case missing from Fort Wayne. Yeah, I'm sure you'll put out a notification. Yeah, let me know. I'll definitely be there to help support.
Former elected official accused of killing a prominent investigative journalist says he will represent himself in court. Another shocking twist in a case that has gripped Las Vegas ever since surveillance video appears to show Robert Tellis near Jeff Gehrman's home around the time of his death. Vanessa Murphy with our Las Vegas affiliate spoke to Tellis in an exclusive
I never even heard of this before. It just came across. I was like, what?
jailhouse interview. She has the latest from the courtroom.
You want to represent yourself in a first-degree murder case.
That is correct.
Robert Tellis now parting ways with a third attorney. The former Clark County public administrator is accused of killing investigative journalist Jeff Gehrman last September.
What?
Gehrman had exposed problems under the leadership of Tellis, and Tellis then lost the Democratic primary. In court Monday,
I don't think anyone ever does a good job representing themselves.
Clark County District Court Judge Michelle Levitt repeatedly warning Tellis it's a bad idea to represent himself. He says he's been a lawyer for 7 years, but mainly in civil law. Tellis saying he wants a trial date sooner than it's scheduled for in November. He and his attorney aren't agreeing on the timeline, and he initially indicates representing himself would be temporary.
I intend to represent myself as for at least a couple of months while I make sure that I'm in a position to hire another attorney. Because again,
Okay, no, we're not playing games, okay? So, Mr. Tellis, we're not playing games. You're not gonna represent yourself for a couple months and then hire someone else. If you wanna hire someone else, that's fine. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do that.
well, I want to represent myself, Your Honor.
Here's what he told us in an interview from jail a few weeks ago.
Hoping at this point to solicit an attorney that can go ahead and look at the case and again give me justice and then give everybody some closure, some justice on this sooner rather than 10 months from now.
Tellis he was framed despite evidence police point to like DNA tying him to the scene. Vanessa Murphy, News Nation.
I never even heard of it. Framed. The hell? Michelle After Dark video came across about Kohberger. Yeah, I never heard of that guy. And Bed Crime Stories. I did want to check her video out. I guess we will be going to 10 o'clock. I want to see what this Michelle After Dark is. Fish cutter. Brian Kohberger had a secret court date with loyal attorney. I don't even know what that means. So I want to check it out. Wow, she's got 60,000 subs. Holy shit. That's crazy. 60,000. What the hell? That was in Vegas. Las Vegas, Dre.
Hey guys, yes, this is stupidly late for me in the UK.
What?
But I've been so stuck in murder.
Okay, what? We already went through the PA search warrant release. Is that what it's about? Possible profile. Okay.
Doc, that I haven't got this out until now. Anyway, you'll all have seen this already if you've been following the Idaho case. This came out yesterday. Receipt of property, the things that they took from Brian when they arrested him at his parents' home.
A flashlight, though.
So that's not the update I want to talk about.
Blue gloves and a flashlight. Those were two weird items. Obviously the blue gloves because he wore those when he was cleaning his car and then taking the garbage to the neighbor's garbage can. He wore those blue gloves, and then a flashlight. Was that flashlight used during the crime?
And then I know, loads of you know, that another point in my profile, do you remember my profile that I did for Brian Kohberger ages ago, before we ever knew that Brian Kohberger was a thing? And right early on, I think it was like 10 days after the murders, I gave 10 points, a possible profile of the killer. And one of them, used to blood and knife skill. Well, I know some of you know this. It's come out that Brian, as a teen, did a 4-month stint as a fish cutter, chopping up fish using industry size style knives. I wonder whether cutting up fish contributed to his life of veganism, which isn't true veganism anyway. But even that's not the update that I want to talk about. Did you know, this has just come out, did you know that there was a court hearing on January 27th? Did you know? Let's read this through. And this is regarding Brian's attorney. It came out that she was Cara Northington, who's Xana's mother's attorney as well. Court noted the presence of counsel on the defendant and stated that the defendant is still in custody. Court noted that all parties were appearing via Zoom. Court stated that this is the time set for a status conference. Court stated this is blah, 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 blah. Court explained to the defendant that conflict of interest can arise if counsel currently or previously represents an individual, or if there is some other conflict, such as they would need to withdraw. Court stated that this court generally leaves the issue of conflict and the decision, if it's necessary to withdraw, to each attorney on a case-by-case basis, and to allow counsel time to discuss this decision with the individual they are representing. Court stated that based upon discussion with counsel, that it's the court's understanding that the defendant is in agreement with Miss Taylor continuing to represent him, and further stated that it's court's understanding that Miss Taylor does not believe there is a conflict. The defendant stated that this is correct. Miss Taylor stated her name appears on every document in the public defender's office, but below her name is the individual who actually represents the named individual in the case. Miss Taylor stated that specific issue with the media has brought attention to two cases involving Xana Knodl's mother. Miss Taylor stated that there was an open felony case that she was not assigned to, and the case has since been conflicted out. Miss Taylor stated that there was a 2017 misdemeanor case which was sentenced and her office was waiting to withdraw from. Miss Taylor stated that the public defender who represented Miss Knodl in the matter was redacted, who left the PD's office in September or October. Miss Taylor stated it is her practice to transfer all cases that are pending withdrawal or have a bench warrant issued to her. Miss Taylor stated that the 2017 case was assigned to her on October 20th, and from October 20th until the date she withdrew, Miss Taylor stated she had no contact or relationship with Miss Knodl and had not met her or provided any legal advice. Miss Taylor stated that the most media is reporting regards to this case is untrue. Okay, Miss Taylor stated that she's spoken with Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings and explained the above situation to them. Miss Taylor stated she's spoken with Redacted at the ISB Bar Counsel's office, who conferred with Redacted and Redacted, and all three do not believe there is a conflict, so long as the defendant is comfortable with her remaining on as counsel. Miss Taylor stated that there is no other person she is connected to in this case, and stated that Mr. Koberger is the only individual in the case to whom she owes a duty of advocacy and loyalty. She was to be loyal. Court questioned the defendant. The defendant stated that given the information he has heard and the conversations he had with Miss Taylor, feels comfortable proceeding with her as his counsel. There you go. What do you think to that? All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to bed now. Bye.
Wow. That's it. I'm going to bed. Bye. Shit. What the hell? All right, we're going to go to this bed crime.
Hey guys, yes, this is.
It took me all the way to. Come on. Why does it do that? I really don't understand. All right. Uh-oh, did StreamYard quit? That made a weird noise. Okay, there it is. Top 10 mysteries that remain unanswered post-trial? Oh, that's too bad Kid Kitty went to bed already. You know what? Maybe I'll save this for Friday night, because I really would like her opinion on this video about the 10 mysteries. Yeah, I'll save this video. I'll save that video for Friday night show. Give me 1 second. There's something else I wanted to check out here instead. If it'll let me. Come on. Okay, speaking of the fish cutter thing, this is what came across. That Koberger was a fish cutter employee in high school. Ex-boss speaks. Come on. Come on.
All right, if you've been wondering how Brian Koberger was allegedly able to stab 4 Idaho college students to death in just a few minutes, it's a big question for the prosecution to explain to the rest of us, specifically the jury, but some insight into his past may give us some clues. Turns out Koberger knew how to use a knife. Brian worked as a fish cutter. He was a fillet man when he was in high school, trained to cut and fillet raw fish. I know how to do it. I mean, you know how to use a knife? Some say I said it. Koberger was. Joining me now is retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, who unearthed details for us. And Charlie Conklin, owner of the Big Brown Fish and Pay Lakes, the store where Brian worked. First, I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Brown. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's Mr. Conklin, but thank you.
Mr. Conklin, sorry. Brown Fish, Conklin. So what do you want us to know about this kid that you remember? He was a kid then. He's in his late 20s now, obviously. But what did you teach him how to do, and what did you learn about him?
Well, first of all, you know, our records show he was in our employment for 4 months, but he probably only worked about 20 days for us. And as far as filleting fish, he never got proficient at it. We bring kids in and train them, and until they're good enough, we don't allow them to do customers' fish. So he probably only practiced filleting maybe 8 to 10 days out of those 20 days.
Sorry, I wasn't
part of
paying
their job is
attention.
to be friendly to customers, to help people fish.
Sorry, I didn't hear what he said. I was like messaging here. 1 second.
Was. Joining me now is retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, who unearthed details for us, and Charlie Conklin, owner of the Big Brown Fish and Pay Lakes, the store where Brian worked. First, I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Brown. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's Mr. Conklin, but thank you.
Mr. Conklin, sorry, Brown Fish, Conklin. What do you want us to know about this kid that you remember? He was a kid then. He's in his late 20s now, obviously. But what did you teach him how to do, and what did you learn about him?
How did you fucking...
Well, first of all, you know, our records show he was in our employment for 4 months, but he probably only worked about days for us. And as far as filleting fish, he never got proficient at it. We bring kids in and train them, and until they're good enough, we don't allow them to do customers' fish. So he probably only practiced filleting maybe 8 to 10 days out of those 20 days. Another part of their job is to be friendly to customers, to help people fish, to pick up paper and stay busy. This probably was his first job because he was only, I think, 16 at the time. So after he was here several times, it became obvious to me that this job just wasn't for him. He wasn't able to make eye contact. He never got good enough to allow him to play customers' fish. So I talked to his direct supervisor, who already was on board and saw the situation. He talked to Brian, and really mutually they decided that job was not for him. So that's
common
the minimal
experience.
contact.
Common experience for him, by the way. He moved through a lot of jobs early on. It happens, but the reasons here remains somewhat of a mystery. So, Condaffer, when you were looking at this and you're starting to pick up different pieces, what did you put together so far that you think is of interest to the audience?
I don't know.
Well, to me, this familiarization with a knife, as an investigator, you're looking at not only why did they.
Maybe because he wasn't proficient is maybe what's relevant. I don't know. It is interesting. But this is high school. We're talking about early 20s, at that point. So it's, another 5 to 10 years past. So he could have got proficient after, I don't know.
They commit a crime, but how did they commit the crime and their weapon of choice? I always wondered, if you're going to go into a house where there's multiple individuals in there, you want something quiet, certainly not a gun, plus that wouldn't have been personal enough. But why not manual strangulation or using a ligature, even blunt force trauma with something? No, he chose a knife. And when I saw this on this application, I thought, wow, he has at least a familiarization with knives, comfortable enough to seek employment using one.
And you also found a lot of information about his employment past. What's the headline on that before we go?
Well, certainly the police training he received, surveillance, conducting various other police jobs. So I think that's really important because we've known he was book smart. We know he studied criminology, but now we see he actually had practical application thereof.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Dre, by the way, I'm gonna also get those orders put up in the store tonight, and then what I'll do is I'll message you when I put them up, and then if it's exactly what you're talking about, go ahead. And you can put the order through. If there's anything that you want changed after I put it up on the store, then just let me know and I can do the editing either tonight or when I get home tomorrow. And I'll let you know through message that way. But I will go ahead and get that stuff put up. After I do get it put up, I'll send you a message letting you know that it's up for you to check out if you'd like. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I will do that after the show. Honestly, I'll probably do that right after the show. Then I'll start looking up the stuff for the Stevenson murders case for tomorrow's show. Because who knows how long that's going to take. So I'm definitely going to get that done tonight. And then that way, in case it is like today where I have no time in between work and work, I'll already be prepared for it. I already have a bunch of other stuff in my Delphi stuff. But I want to end the show with this last video. I thought this was pretty neat. Tonight, you can watch Venus and Jupiter get really close to each other in the sky tonight. So hopefully you got clear skies tonight. You're able to take a look out in the west, direction of the west, I believe. You can see Venus and Jupiter. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. I will be putting a notification up for tomorrow's show shortly after this one's over.
You're on the sky tonight.
I'm going to go ahead and put it out early, so I'll probably... what time is it? Almost 10. So probably about 10:30, I'll be putting out a notification from a show for the possible connection. Is there a connection? And seriously, if you'd like to hop up on open panel tomorrow, I'd love to have you. Definitely going to be interested in everybody's opinion on what they think about all this after we start digging into it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Two planets are going to be getting pretty close to each other, and it only happens about once every 15 years. Dr. Brian Jackson is an associate professor in the physics department at Boise State.
Ooh, look at that
He explains
picture.
what's going on in the sky tonight.
As Jupiter and Venus approach conjunction, that means they get really close to each other. They're not going to actually make kind of contact in the sky. They won't get quite that close, but they'll get almost as close as the moon is wide in the sky. So they'll be very close.
Jackson adds Jupiter and Venus get near each other every year, but it won't be until 2039 that they get this close again. He says you should be able to pick out Jupiter and Venus pretty easily because they'll be the brightest things in the sky besides the sun and the moon.
However, skies have to be clear to see this. Who knows? Jim says we might be able to have a spot and be able to peek through the clouds. We'll see. In case you miss it, though, there is plenty more to learn over at Boise State.
If folks want to learn more astronomy, they should come down to Boise State on the first Friday of every month to listen to our First Friday Astronomy lecture. The next one actually is coming up this Friday on March 3rd. We're going to have Dr. Katie Wimberly from UC Riverside here to talk about dwarf galaxies. So if this sort of idea of Jupiter-Venus conjunction has kind of whet your appetite for astronomy, come down to Boise State on the first Friday of every month, 7:30 p.m. Hear more.
What's going on with my mouse? Okay. What the hell? Yo, you know what? Honestly, Cherry, I don't know if I want to upgrade my StreamYard with how jank this shit's been
May want to keep
for
your
the
eye.
last month. Holy shit. I might just go freebie, you know? It's gonna be like this. Damn. I don't need the space to save my shit. I go to Twitch. I stream my stuff to Twitch. I don't even use the space on this. So maybe I'll take a look at the packages here. I might be downgrading. Fuck. It's been a month. You can't fix your shit by then. I guess I'll just... $25 is a lot, you know, when it comes to all these other little services that cost money, you know. I mean, $10, $5, $12, that's understandable. 25 a month, it's crazy. Who knows, Cherry? Probably not. That's probably why most people I watch use the free StreamYard. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe that's why. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Hope you have a peaceful and positive evening. I'll be putting a new notification up for tomorrow night's show. I'll be putting it up early tonight. We'll get that out there. It's going to be interesting to go over. We'll talk about it. Opinions, views. I'd like to hear everybody's, really. Because honestly, I'm having a hard time finding a link here. But maybe once we go into it tomorrow night, it'll start to make more sense. But right now, I'm just like, what? I don't know. All right. Everybody have a good night. Be safe out there if you're in these tornado alley stormways tonight. Again, we got more crappy weather coming in the Midwest tornado alley. So please be safe. Hit that like when you get that notification in a little bit. Make sure you turn the notification on. Hit subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait to get into it. I definitely need you guys' help make sense. Don't get it. Appreciate you. Good night, everybody.